Hey, thank you everybody for being here. Thanks Danielle for inviting me to the session. You remember that movie with Keanu Reeves and the bus and Sandra Bullock? It feels exactly like that. Anyhow, we're going to talk about selling UX. First, is this advancing? Yes, a little bit about me. I've been doing this sort of thing for about 25 years, and about 15 of those years I've been a consultant. And being a consultant means never having to not sell user experience. It's a big part of what I do, and I wanted to talk a little bit about that today. So first what I'm going to do is we're going to talk about what is it that we do. Who do we need to sell this to? And when I say sell, I'm talking not just money selling, but selling, convincing selling. Why do we have to sell it? And just some practical tips for selling what we do. So first off, what is it that we do? Well, if we're UX practitioners, we probably exist somewhere in the realm of this general process. Because of that, and no matter what we're doing in here, we always find ourselves in a position where we have to convince somebody or sell user experience to someone. So who are we selling it to? Well, first of all, we're selling it to our coworkers. They may have false or partial impressions about what we do. They may have had a bad experience with people doing UX, or with the people who say they're doing UX and they really weren't. So they're coming into this with really a bad mental model. With regard to our coworkers, there are many people who we work with who have not been initiated in the whole idea of UX, and they think that they built something, so ergo everybody's going to be able to use it because it makes sense to them. Probably makes sense to the users as well. So we have to enlighten them. Our bosses, however, we also have to sell user experience to them. UX doesn't happen in an organization without a fair amount of executive support. And executives don't support what they don't understand. So we really need to spend some time with our bosses. If we're consultants, we also have to sell user experience to the general public. And why is that important? Because the more the general public knows about it, the more they'll demand it. The more they'll understand that it's something that they want, and it gives us a job. As consultants, we also have to sell to clients and our prospects. And it's real tough to sell things to people if they don't understand what they're buying. So there's a lot of education that comes with selling. And that's a big part of what we do. You don't want to be too simplistic nor too academic. We also have to give the message that we're not just testers, right? UX is a much broader profession. Our job is not to deflavorize cool stuff, right? And that's what a lot of our coworkers and the public think that's what we do. We also have to explain the difference between usable and useful and elegant and cool. You can have things that are usable but not useful. You can have things that are cool but not usable. And so we have to make these distinctions really clear. One of the things that comes through when we sell is our passion. And it's really important to be passionate about what we do. Passionate doesn't mean, however, browbeating your clients and your coworkers into thinking that they're stupid if they don't do UX. Not a good message. One of the ways I sell UX is I use a lot of analogies and metaphors. One that I really like is a bad conceptual design on a website or an application is like a bad foundation to a house, and this is what will happen after a couple of years. I also use a lot of examples of good design to communicate what UX is and what a user-centered approach does. So I'll talk about the number of people at Google with UX in their title and how many TV screens were smashed before the Wii controller strap was invented. On the flip side, I also give examples of historically bad designs. And there are so many out there, it's really hard not to find one. And it works because most people have encountered a bad design. It doesn't hurt to make people laugh in the meantime while you're doing this. When I talk about giving a good message, you don't want to tell people, you better hire me or you're doomed. That's not going to go over really well. So give them a cautionary tale, but do it with a smile. You know, let them know that it's a positive thing. Another message about UX that often gets misrepresented or overlooked is that you actually have to engage users, not just think about them. And one way to communicate that is, you know, you're not your users, and maybe you should be glad you're not. I'm a big proponent of storytelling, and I always have to make sure that the stories I tell are relevant to the people I'm trying to sell UX to. So this is a story in healthcare and how they used beepers to call pre-surgery patients who were nervous to begin with, and then these beepers are going off. But anyhow, you should also tout your own skills. We do a lot of great things in user experience. It doesn't really hurt to explain what you do and how you brought value to other clients. clients. So I'd love to talk to you guys more about this offline. I believe, you know, a rising tide raises all boats. So please come talk to me. Again, thank you. Thank you all for being here. Have a great conference.